Hi, this is Amy Marone with Sensorium Hypnosis. Welcome to my podcast, Healer Within. Today I have client Kelly, and Kelly has an amazing, unique story that shines a light on some of the less traditional work that I do in my role. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me here today. I appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so, Kelly, I think it'd be really fun for our listeners and audience to know how you found me.
Yes, it was definitely unexpectedly, but I'm so gracious I did.
Hmm.
Um, I'll start with this. I was going to get my hair done,
Hmm.
and my normal hairdresser that
Hmm.
normally does my hair was saying this gal over here, Megan, oh, she does perms. I thought, oh, okay, maybe I'll do that.
Hmm.
And so she introduced me to Megan. I went in for a consult, met with Megan, and she was doing my hair. And we all know when we go to a hairdresser, we chat. We chat
Yeah.
about whatever may come or whatever's on our mind that day.
Uh-huh.
And we both shared that we had both lost our husbands. And she started to tell me that she had lost hers in May. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I said, well, I lost mine in August. And she's like, oh my goodness. She said, it's tragic on both ends. And she said, you need to go see Amy. I was introduced to Amy through the owner of the shop,
Hmm.
recommended you to her. And she's like, I think she'd be very beneficial. And, I was inquisitive because I was like, well, I've already been to some therapy. And I'm going to be
Hmm.
honest, I didn't really feel like I got a lot out of it. So I was, I
Hmm.
was skeptical as most would be.
Sure.
And she explained, no, it's a whole different level than just counseling. Like
Okay.
she goes deep within.
Hmm.
And so I investigated, got your information.
Hmm.
We had our consult over the phone. I think we
Hmm.
spent over an hour together. And I
Yeah.
felt a connection with you there. So
Hmm.
I knew that this was something I needed to pursue.
Hmm. Hmm. Kelly, thank you for sharing that. What what was it in particular, do you remember, that you wanted or needed from me that kind of falls outside the realm of normal therapy?
Yes. Um, I felt that I wanted to feel Tori. I wanted to
Okay.
feel the closeness or how you could possibly bring me the techniques or just what you're feeling to be able
Mm-hmm.
to feel him because there's nothing like losing a spouse or a loved one.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us want the feeling of the nearness, some don't. I wanted that. I
Okay.
wanted to feel him within me.
Sure. Sure. Can you connect with any of the fears or the heaviness of his passing that you were hoping to address in this space? Biggest fear associated with his passing or the circumstances of his passing?
Absolutely. I'm alone. And that journey's been challenging in itself
Mm-hmm.
because we were not just husband and wife, we were best friends.
Yeah.
So when you have to step into this new journey in your life and you're starting completely over from
Mm-hmm.
scratch
Mm-hmm.
and you're creating your own space and your own journey and moving different towns,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much anxiety and
Mm-hmm.
stress and fear connected to that
Mm-hmm.
alone.
Mm-hmm.
And the unsureness and just all
Mm-hmm.
those things in one, and there's so many emotions and feelings wrapped in that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was coming to you hoping you could bring me a sense of peace or guide and direction of
Mm-hmm.
how that this could be beneficial and
Mm-hmm.
how this could help my journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So naturally, when people lose a spouse unexpectedly, right? There's a lot of thoughts or heaviness that go through our mind about the passing of our spouse. Can you share any concerns or worries you had about his passing with our listeners?
Oh, absolutely. It was extremely traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was living in a cloud, to say
Mm-hmm.
the least. I wasn't, it didn't feel real to me because he traveled.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was a blessing because him not being there was normal. He would go on a
Mm-hmm.
week travel, be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept saying, oh, he's going to be home. He's coming through that door. He's going to be home. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that was, just protecting me to think, oh no, he'll be back. He'll be back. But
Mm-hmm.
realization, he wasn't and he's not, but the unexpectedly and the so quickly, and not to mention it was on my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so much to that. And I had so much anxiety and fear and anger and
Mm-hmm.
emotions.
Mm-hmm.
He was taken so quickly. It was
Mm-hmm.
one moment, hi, honey, I'm home. We connect that morning. And then within, hours of that day, he was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can, I can't even express just to anyone the pain and the hurt to that
Mm-hmm.
and how many emotions are in that.
Mm-hmm.
It's beyond. And I'm the one that had to perform CPR, which I'm not up to date on that. So I'm doing my best in panic
Mm-hmm.
mode, right? And
Sure.
just we're using everything we can to bring this person back that we love with our whole heart.
Oh,
So
yes.
there's so much there. It's so heavy.
Sure. Sure.
Um,
Kelly, you had tried other interventions or modalities before you came into my space. Can you talk a little bit about that?
yes. I was referred to a gal that, because at the time I was living in Mount Vernon,
Mm-hmm.
and I was referred to her. I'd gone to her a couple sessions, and I just wasn't feeling, when we leave a session, we want to feel, wow. We do. We want to
Mm-hmm.
feel like we got something out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't feeling that. I just kept feeling like I was still in that same spot and I was
Mm-hmm.
not getting the help or
Mm-hmm.
the direction that
Mm-hmm.
I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And that brought me down more because I thought, gosh, can this be helped? Is there a
Mm-hmm.
light here? Where to
Yeah.
go, what to do?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I just didn't feel like I got anything out of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm so grateful that I was able to find Amy because
Mm-hmm.
you have helped me beyond measure.
Well, and thank you, Kelly. I now will get into, the nuts and bolts of your experience in your very first session. We connected during the consult. You made it very clear to me, I need to connect with him, right? I need to know
Yes,
he's okay. Um, I need to know, does he have any messages to share with me? And
right.
so I'd love for you to share more about what came through. What was your experience in this space? Using me now as a spiritual counselor and a medium and an energy healing with a touch of hypnotherapy.
Right.
What came through?
Well, our first session was we just talked that day, which
Mm-hmm.
felt so good and so real. Your
Mm-hmm.
space was welcoming, warming, and I felt comfort immediately when I came. And I think to start your session, that is so important because you
Mm-hmm.
have to feel comfortable to release. You
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to release what you're feeling. We're
Yeah.
coming in there with heavy hearts.
Mm-hmm.
My heart was beyond heavy and I didn't know what to expect out of this. And you were able to bring clarity to my mind that no, Tori is with you and Tori wants this for you. And you were able to share with me that he was there. And
Mm-hmm.
just that's so much comfort to
Mm-hmm.
know he's there. He's with
Mm-hmm.
you. He hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
His spirit's guiding you and directing you,
Mm-hmm.
and not to mention just hearing it, but when I was with you and in your space, I felt it.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to hear it and another to feel it.
Yeah.
And I felt it. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt it from you, your energy, and I felt him in your presence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is just, it was just so real to me.
That's wonderful. Well, and as a medium, right? It's healing to be able to pick up their speech patterns, their personality, um, advice, wisdom. He had some interesting guidance to offer you regarding future work.
Yes. Yes. And that's what you, not to mention just you feeling his presence and being able to share with me, but
Mm-hmm.
you described him not knowing him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so him. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything you described about him and everything you felt is so him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to share with Amy that my passion's always been interior design
Mm-hmm.
and decorating, and I've done that, through family, through friends, and our home, how I would create our home. And he would always say that she just makes it feel so home. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so at home. And he
Mm-hmm.
knew I had that special talent. And now that I'm starting over and looking into a new way and direction in my life, he's guided us to be my direction, which
Mm-hmm.
excites me tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he was able to shine that light on us and to help guide that. And I
Mm-hmm.
truly believe he is there and he is guiding and directing this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. There's a beautiful story involving a sailboat and some colors and a picture of a man that you found in Las Vegas in a shop. Whoops, I might have lost you here.
Okay.
All right. Sorry there for our listeners. We got a brief interruption by some internet issues. I was just asking guest Kelly about her experience in our first session and some of the things, the visions that I brought through about her late husband.
Yes, it was. She had shared with me that she saw a few things that came to mind, and one of them was a sailboat. And I know he'd sailed in the past and was something he enjoyed tremendously. So it was a love to him, but he hadn't done it for a long time.
Mhm,
But she shared that with me, and she even saw the vivid colors. She explained the colors
mhm,
with that, and that he was at peace with that. And she saw him enjoying that. And so me and my daughters were able to go on a little girls getaway,
mhm,
and we went to an art museum in Las Vegas, and there was many, pictures going through, and there was this moment we were in the room at the art museum, and it was so vivid, so beautiful, and so clear. And here's this big sailboat picture.
mhm,
And all the colors that Amy shared with me were vivid and in that picture. And it was a moment of awe and extreme emotion. It was like, oh my goodness, he is here. This is I felt it. I felt
mhm,
the feeling of him being there, and everything you explained was there. And it was just an amazing, amazing feeling. And I looked over at my daughter, and tears were just coming
mhm,
down because I shared with her what you had shared with me, Amy.
mhm,
And the emotions were so raw and so real.
mhm,
Then we turned the opposite direction, and then there was a painting of a gentleman with a hat on, and
mhm.
it looked just like him.
Uh-huh.
So we were just we were in this moment of, oh my goodness, like he's here, he's in this room. And it felt
Yeah.
so real.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up buying the picture. They did have a little poster board of it, and I just
Mm-hmm.
had it professionally framed, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so beautiful.
Mm.
I shared it with Amy. I had to show her.
Yeah.
I came back
Yeah.
from my
It's
trip and
beautiful.
had to show you because it was
Mm-hmm.
so, and it's so special now. Now it's on my wall, and I get to think
Yeah.
of him every time I see it.
It's amazing. Well, and Tori connects with you in many ways and has since his passing to the other side. Um, the coins,
Yes.
right? The
Yes.
music.
Oh, yes.
Describe some of your experiences, if you would.
Yes, I think, the right after his passing, it was like a few weeks, and my son and I went to a restaurant, Lombardi's,
Mm-hmm.
that was Tori and I's first date.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat down and we're getting ready to order, and it was a few songs into it, and we didn't really hear the music. It was kind of mumbled because we were having good conversation. And it was so loud and so clear. And I looked at my son and tears started coming down. He's like, "What?" And I said, "Our wedding song is playing."
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh my gosh, mom." And then he started to cry. And I knew that was him.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you can't describe, but I knew it was him. I knew it
Yeah.
was him there. And throughout this journey as well, I shared with Amy that I'll just be in random places and find coins, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a penny, a dime, a nickel. And
Mm-hmm.
I shared with Amy, and she said, "That's Tori, just dropping them your way, and
Mm-hmm.
little messages and
Mm-hmm.
signals and signs."
Mm-hmm.
And my kids have shared with me that they've had their share of these things happen to
Mm-hmm.
them in
Yeah.
different ways. And they
Sure.
feel the same way. Oh, that was Tori, or the grandkids, that was Papa,
Mm-hmm.
because he had such a big footprint on this family. Um,
Completely.
so big.
Completely. Yeah. Well, and you, in your very last session here, we did some deep, deep healing work that I would describe for our audience and listeners as physical mediumship, right?
Yes.
Producing physical evidence of the spiritual realm combined with trance healing. In other words, connecting with the energy and the soul of our loved ones and moving their energy through my client to help them heal, to
Yes.
connect. Can you share that experience? Because it was
Yes.
pretty
Very, very
intense.
intense. Very intense, but so calming at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It was you have such a way of bringing that feeling and emotion through your work,
Mm-hmm.
of your calmness, and to be to be at ease in your space, I feel can bring what you're wanting to get out of this, because you have to feel good where you are, and you have to feel that comfort to be able to
Mm-hmm.
bring that in, and you're able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so being in your space when we went to this, through that time, I have never felt that since his
Mm-hmm.
passing, or never felt the feeling of him being there. I actually felt, and I told Amy this, I felt cold on my head, and then I just got warm, this warmest sensation from my head to my toes.
Mm-hmm.
I got heavy, like my body was just heavy. And then all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden, and through this time, my eyes are closed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing his face smiling and just this light. And
Mm-hmm.
through that time, my body just felt all this weight lifted off me. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just clear. And I felt like light as a feather. And I felt like he was holding me. And
Mm-hmm.
it was the most amazing feeling and transition that I can describe. And I left there at such peace.
Mm-hmm.
When I would leave your sessions, I was expecting, not knowing, going in for my first session with you, to feel sad, heavy, depressed. But I always felt when I left your sessions, every single one of them, Amy, I was so much lighter and I was
Mm-hmm.
so much happier because I really felt his presence with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I really did. And I would want to turn on my Christian music and open up the windows and let the sun in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was reviving. It's just, I
Mm-hmm.
can't explain it. It's
Yeah.
one of the best things I've done for myself.
Mm.
And I thank you for that because
Mm.
it was just amazing. And I mean, I've recommended you to so many people because if they could get this and get that healing
Mm-hmm.
and not waste years and money on this
Mm.
and just come and get quicker healing. And what I love about you too, Amy, is you don't put a time limit. You
Yeah.
know, you don't, you go with it and
Oh.
because you're doing your work so truly and
Mm.
so passionately that you want to help people like myself and others,
Mm-hmm.
that time wasn't it. You just want to make sure we're okay
Mm-hmm.
when we left.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Well, and thank you. Thank you. And Kelly, so much healing, right? From trance healing, from physical mediumship to the point where you can connect energetically to
Yes.
Tori. But the other piece of what we did was helping you piece together your own self healing formula.
Yes.
What
Which is
did
so big.
you discover as your personal healing formula through this process?
I discovered, well, I got to know myself again.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes time because you get
Mm.
so lost in your emotions and the loss that you lose yourself.
Yeah.
And to gain that back is so big. But I learned
Mm-hmm.
that my confidence is good now and Amy
Mm-hmm.
helped me with that and to go out into the workforce again and be
Yeah.
confident,
Yeah.
and feel good about that
Mm-hmm.
and feel that security and direction.
Mm-hmm.
And you were able to help me with that.
Mm-hmm.
And just instead of being sad, now I'm looking at things in a whole different perspective. I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to, because I feel him here now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's such a big difference when you feel
Mm-hmm.
their presence, you feel even more confident
Mm-hmm.
because I know
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't want me to be sad.
Yeah.
He wants me to live my life my fullest and be able to carry on and do the things that God's put me here to do.
Yeah.
I feel
Ex-
that.
exactly. Well, and so I know we did a few chapters,
Yes.
lessons on getting a little bit outside of your comfort zone. So, in what ways through this healing process have you given yourself permission to get outside of your comfort zone? The old Kelly versus, right, the
Right.
rediscovered, authentic version of you. What's different in the way in your lifestyle and the choices that you make?
Definitely. And you helped me with that as well, Amy, that it's okay to do things solely because
Yeah,
here I
right.
am, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a lot because we did everything together.
Mm-hmm.
We did so much together.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what would it be like, Kelly, to go to a restaurant by yourself
Mm-hmm.
and order something off the menu? And how does that make you feel? Well, I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gone to the beach and sat there and I've done
Mm-hmm.
things that are, and when I do it, I get so much gratification out of that because it's like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, this is okay. And I feel good and I feel okay to do these things alone. And I'm venturing out. I'm doing things I never would have done.
Mm-hmm.
Like just the confidence with applying to these places and
Mm-hmm.
going solely to places.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it does take time and it's steps. It's our journey,
Mm-hmm.
it's our healing journey.
Well, and you've kept some of your traditions that you had with Tori.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
what?
Well, we had, we're very I would say he's very traditional, and
Hmm.
so am I. That's the way we were raised.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to still keep that, staple, especially with
Hmm.
the family, like our
Hmm.
celebration of holidays. And
Yeah.
even though he's not with us, he is,
Mhm.
right? And I
Yes.
look at that
Yes.
different now, Amy, because it used to
Mhm.
be gloom and doom and he's not here and we're all sad.
Mhm.
And now it's like through sessions and healing, it's like, no, he is with us and he is
Mhm.
happy we're together.
Yeah.
So carrying on those traditions of still being able to go to these things. And I went and hung out with his best friends and sister last
Mhm.
Saturday. And it was like
Mhm.
he wasn't there, but it felt okay because
Yeah.
he is there.
Yeah.
So being able to carry those things on and doing them by yourself, but knowing they're with you is so big because we
It's
don't want to
big.
quit doing what we were doing, right? We want to be able
Yeah.
to keep doing those things, and
Sure.
we're making new memories and
Yeah.
creating new things.
Sure. Well, and I love for you to talk about church.
Yes, yes. Tori was a true man of God and so faithful, and that was something we did together on
Mhm.
Sundays. And I've been journeying with that, as I shared with Amy. I've gone with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law to their church,
Mhm.
and I wasn't connecting as deeply. So I felt, I'm going to go to the church Tori and I went to, and that's where we
Mhm.
had his service.
Mhm.
And I walked into the room and I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be. It's a
Mm.
drive for me, but it's
Yeah.
it's where I'm supposed to be. And I felt him there. I
Yeah.
felt him with me, and my boys
Mhm.
were with me. And
Mhm.
we have to feel we have to feel good, and we're, in that space, you
Yeah.
know. And I just that's been my journey with that. And I'm going to
Mhm.
grief share with them at their church,
Mhm.
which has been so big for me too. It's
Yeah.
it's we all get to be together and talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and your connection to music.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Mhm.
So I was sharing with Amy that my everyone heals differently. And when I heal, I just music brings me peace, and it brings me just this different kind of energy. And I worship through songs, and
Mhm.
it's healing for me.
Mhm.
And I'm still doing that. I put it on my Spotify in my car and I'll just crank
Mhm.
it up, and
Yes.
it's just so healing for me. And I I
Mhm.
I feel God and him with me as I'm doing that.
Mhm.
And it's so powerful.
You had an experience on a plane also with music.
Yes. Yes. I was sharing with Amy, I put my AirPods in and I put my music on, and I have certain playlists.
Mhm.
And I went to soft rock at that time. And there was a song that Tori and I always played together. It was on our
Mhm.
one of our other streams, and it kept coming on and interrupting my music. And I was like, wait, I didn't pick that station. And I would
Mhm.
go back and hit it again, and it would come on again. And I'm like, okay, you want me to listen to this song, don't you?
Yeah.
Some of those things are so powerful, and you
Yeah.
know that's them. They're
Completely.
bleeps, and you just know it's so evident that it's them.
Wow. Kelly, it's funny because I've shared with you that of all the spirits I've worked with over time, Tori is far and away the strongest. And I do truly believe that has to do with his frequency as well
Yes.
as your frequency. And of course, my receptivity to his energy. And so he's very, very much been a guide to me in some of the health issues that I've been having. And one
Yes.
thing I don't think I shared this with you, I had to have a more or less an endoscopy urgently I think it was last Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. And I was actually, as I was in the waiting room, I was listening to my Christian music station. And I had a little bit of anxiety going into this procedure because there's a little bit of a storm going on. And I was
Yes.
sitting in the bed and they were, I took my ear pods out. I turned the Christian station off, right? Getting ready to put all my clothes and my belongings in the bag under the bed. And the nurse was making me more nervous. She's getting me all. prepped up and I'm sitting there and I'm kind of anxious. And doesn't my phone go off? And I could hear that Christian music piping through under the bed, and I couldn't reach it. It was laughable. It was
Oh my
laughable. And I'm
goodness.
like, oh, and I could feel like this huge breeze or air coming down. And I'm like, Tori. And I just laughed. He's like, you got this, Aim. You got
You got,
this. So, right. So
wow.
I I I wanted to share that with you because one of the things I know that I mentioned to you about Tori is that many times when people pass over before we're ready, we don't necessarily, the timing of it is devastating to us. We're not expecting it. We may be aware of health problems a person has, but of course, right, as he
Yes.
was definitely your soulmate, we're not ready to let go. But
No.
one thing that I shared with you is that I really felt strongly that Tori felt, as a light worker, as a helper healer, he could do deeper work on a more expansive level from the other side. And even now as we're speaking, I can feel his energy pouring over me. It feels like
Yes.
somebody opened a freezer on top of me. And I'm the prime example of how he is using his energy and allowing me to channel, not just for the work that we're doing, but also as a personal guide to me. So I
Right.
feel very humbled by
Yes.
this opportunity that you've given me to connect with Tori, who, by the way, came to me the evening before I even met you face to face. And he has such a commanding presence in the etheric realm, just as you describe, he
Yes.
had here. Can you, in remembrance of him in physical form, can you describe for our listeners and our audience the essence of Tori in physical form, how he worked through people during his time here on earth?
Oh, yes. He touched so many lives, so
Uh-huh.
many lives. His service said it all,
Mm-hmm.
more than I knew,
Mm-hmm.
not just through me and our children, but through the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
And he was such a big presence in a room. When he
Mm-hmm.
was there, you knew he was there.
Yeah.
But it was always in such a good, positive, uplifting way, right?
Yeah.
But he brought so many people, not just to the Lord through his
Mm-hmm.
work here on earth, but he could read a room so well. He could read
Mm-hmm.
people so well.
Yeah.
His team at work, they
Mm-hmm.
adored him and loved him
Mm-hmm.
because he was such a good mentor and
Yeah.
a good father, a good friend. I shared this with Amy. I had so many people come up to me at the service and say, "Well, he was my best friend." And he was my best friend. Some of these people I didn't even know, but
Yeah.
that shows you the impact that
Uh-huh.
he made on people's lives
Yeah.
and he truly made people feel that way. It wasn't a
Mm-hmm.
facade. That was from the
Yeah.
heart of him.
Yeah. Genuine.
That when you would leave, you would feel
Uh-huh.
like he truly cares. He truly
Yeah.
cares about me as a person.
Yeah.
And that's how
Completely.
he was.
Yeah, I
He
can
was,
definitely
yes.
feel that. Yeah,
Yeah.
from the other side. Yeah, completely. Well, and he had some, we talk about connecting with our soulmate and how that soulmate heals our trauma and our inner
Mhm.
child. Can you think of anything funny that, because I know it has a great sense of humor and
Yes.
could be very, very direct. Can you think of some common things or funny things he would say to you in the spirit of lifting you up and encouraging you?
Oh, yes. He was a fun loving man. And,
Mm-hmm.
if someone's down, he's going to pick you up. Right. And it was
Uh-huh.
usually with humor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he used to call me honey. all the
Hmm.
time. His famous words were, and he wouldn't just say honey, he would go, honey,
Yeah.
and that uplifting spirit and he would bring me out of the mood with his humor and his
Yeah.
jokes and his
Yeah.
lightheartedness. And
Uh-huh.
he would do that, through work as well sometimes,
Hmm.
just to pick that person up that's down.
Yeah.
But he always had his little sayings, or he'd talk his Elvis voice,
Oh.
hello, well, hello there. We go through the we go through the Starbucks drive-through, and he was a comedian at ordering our
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah.
But he brought that throughout the day. He'd wake up and say,
Hmm.
it's a great day to be alive.
Wow.
He loved life, but he wasn't
Yeah.
afraid to go to the other side. He wasn't
Yeah.
afraid.
Completely, completely. And if I can share also some funny things, like you would leave my space after a session, and then maybe a couple hours later, or maybe that night, or even the next day, he'd go, to get my attention, aim, aim, Amy, aim. And I'm like, Tori. And then like the air would blow on me. And then I'd have to say, I could be doing anything, right? Washing lettuce in the kitchen. He was hilarious at how spontaneously he would come through. It's like we never really totally disconnected at the end of that session. And there were times where he said, and oh, and another thing, when you talk to her, when you see her, um, here's some updated information. Here's what I need her to know. And a lot of times it would be like a saying or a visual or a perspective, or it would be flat out. I don't want to disclose any business secrets that I've shared with you, but he would share, like, okay, not this name for her company, but this name,
Oh
and
yeah.
just by adding an ing to something. And it was so funny, and every single time I knew it had to be coming through me and not from me, because of the humor thing, because of how poignant and relevant it was to your life and this particular season of your life. But he is a kick in the pants
Oh yes.
as a spirit. And I I can honestly say, in the almost decade that I've been doing this, I have never experienced that level of support and strength of connection as I have with Tori's energy. So, what a gift he is, to me personally, and
Yes.
what a
Yes.
gift he is to your family and anybody in his inner circle whose hearts were changed and
Yes, definitely.
souls were imprinted by his deep soul wisdom and his intelligence, but also his love and compassion. He has great BS radar too,
Oh
which is
yes.
really funny. Like he'll just call it out. And again, there are times I will have like a deep belly laugh just from the delivery or the comedic timing of something he said. So, Kelly, I get to experience a lot of his magic on the other
Right.
side. It's so amazing. This has been honestly, hands down, the most favorite set of sessions I've had with any other
Oh.
angel being like you. Kelly, you're an
Oh.
incredible, incredible human and an incredible soul. I want to ask you in closing, because I have no doubt you and I, with our combined energy, along with Tori, could talk forever about the value of trance healing, mediumship, hypnotherapy, spiritual counseling as an intervention for helping people heal from grief and loss. But is there anything that you want to share with anybody else out there who has lost a loved one and who is feeling very, very stuck, and add, to use your words, heavy? Any wisdom you'd like to impart?
Yes, I mean, first and foremost, I think it's to seek help for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
because I was stuck. I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And now I look at where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And if I hadn't walked into your space and your place,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I just can't say enough that it's so important to take care of yourself and to
Mm-hmm.
get the help and to get to feel that connection helps was healing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has their own healing and their own journey
Yeah.
path, and we know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would highly recommend you, Amy,
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost, because I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for what you were able to help me with.
Mm-hmm. Thank
And
you.
someone that's in that state hurts my heart because I've been there
Mm-hmm.
and it is painful. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it takes a while to realize I need help.
Yeah,
And I had to come to that realization. It's okay to say, I need help. I can't do
sure,
this alone.
sure. Well, and it is okay, right, to say, like, connect me to my loved one. Not everybody is
Right.
comfortable
No.
doing that or speaking that or recognizing that need. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to know,
Yes.
is that loved one still with me in some form? We want to feel it. We don't just want to know it or think it or
Right.
believe it because we've been told. We want to feel that firsthand. We want to be able to feel the touch, smell the smell, hear the humor or the energy of that person in real time.
Absolutely.
And that can be powerful. And one thing I might mention to people dealing with grief and loss is I truly believe you know there's a passive part of healing, right, that involves time and depth of experience as we move forward. But then there is something referred to as active healing. And that means, you spend in close quarters with another practitioner who's willing to go there with you, to walk through the heaviness and the storms, to ask the deeper questions. This is so much the process of self healing. This is
Yeah.
less about what I'm doing for you. This is more about what I am trying to empower you to do for yourself. Logic stands to follow, if Tori's energy and his spiritual wisdom and his healing could move through me to you, that you can cut out the middle person, me,
Right.
after a while and receive downloads from Tori, right? At
Right.
any time once that connection is made. And that's so in the spirit of the self-healing that I promote, is that I want my clients to be able to gift that experience to themselves. They might feel it first here in almost like their energy on steroids, but over time, you're able to connect with Tori on demand, and you're able
Yes.
to see the signs and symbols and synchronicity, so that each day throughout their day, now that you're fully awakened, you can feel his love, his compassion, his guidance. And you can
Absolutely.
know to the depths of your soul, he hasn't left, he's just simply changed form.
Yes. Yes. And I wouldn't have been able to have that peace and that feeling if it wasn't for you though,
Mm,
because you were
thank
able to
you.
open that up.
Mm,
Like open that up for me in my eyes and my senses and just so much. I feel
mm-hmm,
alive again.
mm-hmm. Oh, it's beautiful. Well, so much of that experience has to do with your high frequency and also your openness. There's some people have some fears related to connecting with souls who have passed on. They think it's dark or heavy. Souls
Right.
on the other side don't suffer. I just want to clear
No.
that myth. There is no suffering. We're the one in human form that feels
Yes.
the suffering. So if they're in the highest frequency realm, in the highest frequency form, we can actually, through trance healing, utilize that high frequency energy to heal ourselves.
Yes. Right. Which is so powerful.
Mm.
So powerful.
It's amazing. Kelly,
It is.
I've loved our time. I loved each and every one of our glorious sessions. Again,
Me
when our sessions
too.
were over, I felt energized and light. And that's the power of having, right, this synergistic exchange. When two
Yes.
high frequency spiritual beings get together, in the spirit of healing, a lot of things, beautiful things and transformations can happen. Kelly, I'm
Yeah.
going to look so forward to keeping in close touch with you.
Absolutely.
You live and work in my community. And I just can't wait to be an ongoing resource to you. If and when that's needed. Thank you so much for joining
Yes,
my
absolutely.
podcast. Yeah, Healer
Absolutely.
Within, right? And Kelly, probably, um, this will air in a few weeks. I
Yes.
release them so they show up on Mondays. And
Yeah.
if just to let the viewers and listeners know, you can go to my website, sensoriumhypnosis.com, get more information about the wide range of tools and interventions I use. You can actually link to my podcast via Spotify from my website now.
Oh,
And
awesome.
yeah, and you'll actually be able to see, in the days ahead, little snips or clips from this interview that will be posted on my website. So thank you.
Awesome. Oh,
Thank
you're so
you.
welcome. Thank you,
Oh, I
dear.
appreciate it. Well, listen, have a beautiful sunny day and
You
week,
too,
and
dear.
you and I will talk soon.
Okay,
Thanks
dear.
again,
Mwah.
Kelly.
Okay.
Okay, bye now.
Okay. Bye.